Three, two, one, and we're back. The Why Even Care podcast with our return guest, Danny. How you been, Danny?
I've been very well. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me back. I've been looking forward to making my next appearance on this podcast.
Yeah, uh, it's been maybe 2 months or a month since the last time you were on. I think it was like early December.
Yeah, mid-December.
Yeah, somewhere around that time, and there's been a lot of improvements from then to
Yeah.
now.
So now there's video, there's a mic, there's two mics.
There's stands.
Yeah, so I mean, if I'm ever on again, if I'm fortunate enough, I don't even know. Like you might
Well,
have a whole staff
uh,
handling all this.
behind the scenes people. No, well, there are some things that I have discussed with you of things that are gonna come on. It's obviously a good thing, so that way people that listen that are watching this, that they know that there it doesn't just stop with recording and guests. There's like other things that are coming on. I'm not yet ready to say those things to everyone, but obviously to people like you and to people that are helping me out to get this thing done, I've let them know. So there are two great things in store that are gonna come on. Hopefully by the end of this month we'll get that done. Obviously, a lot of it has been because of your help. You get me? You've been super supportive. You've been a database for me to go in and pick your brain and say, hey, look, I have these ideas. What are ideas that you have? And I think it's very important for people to have someone like that. Someone where you could put your ego to the side and say, hey, look, I need this information. Like, I need to learn. You get me? And that's something that you provided that I didn't have before.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, the stuff you told me about earlier in the week,
Yeah.
very excited. I'm proud of you.
Hmm.
Just your progression through this.
And it's been pretty fast, too. It's
Yeah,
kind of caught me off
yeah.
guard.
You're like SpaceX right now. Just what? What are
Yeah.
two rockets landing?
Two rockets. Yeah. No, actually, it's funny that you bring that up because I was telling you earlier about the SpaceX, the Falcon Heavy that just landed yesterday, and they ship it out, and then obviously it's super cool. You get to see this. Uh, I actually never seen something on TV like a rocket taking off. Seen it on TV. I'm too young to remember any of that stuff. So this is actually like super historic for me because you get to see someone, a private company aside from NASA, ship first of all ship a rocket out with a Tesla in it, and then also the most amazing thing for me was the rocket coming down and landing on all fours and not tilting over or falling off. That shows me something that's like, wow, this is super crazy.
Yeah, I mean, did you watch it live as it was
I
happening
saw
or
it
record
live.
it? Yeah,
Yeah,
me too. And it was like, upstairs here
yeah.
with David, and I saw on Twitter. I was following all day, kept getting delayed and delayed.
Hmm.
I'm like, I hope it happens. And then turn on. It's like 5 minutes till takeoff, and it happens. And we're just watching it, and it's cool. Like, uh, it's amazing to see the power and the force just to take off. I
Yeah,
mean, like the smoke was like rumbling out, and it was insane. Like it looked like an explosion almost, right? And it shoots off, and it all kind of looks normal at this point. Nothing too earth
special.
shattering or
Yeah,
special. Like, oh yeah, I've seen space shuttles and rockets take off. I'm older than you, so I have
you have
experienced it.
experienced it. Yeah.
But then like after a couple minutes, we're looking at the feed, and there's like four panels showing different angles and different rockets or parts of it.
Yeah.
And the bottom two looked almost like a mirror image, and we were talking, and we're like, why is it the same feed? Like, why is it the same angle? And then literally a minute later, you see these two rockets land like with their bottoms down, and we're like, oh crap, they were so precise in the way they were coming down that it almost looked like a mirror image of each other.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was like a video game.
Yeah.
It didn't look real, and I
It,
wouldn't be surprised if that's a hoax. Like,
if someone faked that,
because that almost looks a little fake.
yeah. So I was listening somewhere today that the guy that saw it because it was his first time seeing it. Uh, they were recording the podcast and he was saying that has to be in reverse. It looked so good that it looked like it was in reverse. Someone went back and adjusted the video and shot the video of the rocket taking off and going into orbit instead and made it go in reverse. That's how perfect it was. But I mean, obviously, I know someone that works at SpaceX. She just got a job there, and she got to experience it. She just got hired. She just started Monday, and she tells me that these people have been working super hard on this project, and people are in tears. They're super excited, and it's one of those things when you come to think about it, and you see this, it's, man, you only see this from NASA. So for a private company to get to do something like that, it shows you, you just have to make sure that you work hard. Obviously, you have to have a lot of money, you have to have a lot of power, but things can be accomplished. Crazy things can be accomplished.
Yeah, it was insane to watch. I felt like pride
Yeah.
from it, wonder, awe.
What's
I,
next?
I was I was hoping nothing went wrong. There was a part of my gut that was like, oh, something bad could happen because
Yeah.
I mean, all that fuel and like if one calculation is wrong, and you've probably seen videos of shuttles and stuff exploding, and I've
yeah.
seen that on TV growing up, and I was just hoping, it was unmanned, so that was the only positive thing
in
of
case something
about that
happened.
risk. But yeah, it's so special, so much hope, and like you said, a private company to do that, amazing,
Yeah.
amazing, so cool.
Well, it's funny because another thing that SpaceX did was that test run above LA, where people thought it was a UFO, and they made memes out of it and stuff. But it was just them testing certain things out, and it looked super crazy when you went outside and you looked at it. But it gives you something to say, hey man, I'm excited about SpaceX. Maybe they are gonna make this exploration to Mars. You get me? And then Elon Musk, being the crazy ass guy that he is, making a flamethrower. You get me? Why would anybody
Is he
even?
making a
He made
flamethrower?
a
I
flamethrower.
know he was tweeting about like flamethrowers and kind of throwing out like clues about what he was doing.
Yeah,
Did he?
yeah.
Is that for
He
sure?
that
He
was a
really
for
made
sure
one.
thing. Yeah, he's dude. When you're crazy and you're a genius, things like this are gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean he's a special person, and if you look back, like in 100 years, I think he's going to be regarded as
One of the
maybe like our Edison or
yeah.
something like that. Someone who just invents all these amazing things, or is at least you know he's the champion behind these things. Clearly, he has great teams that he works with, and
Yeah,
you
he's
know
got the smartest people aside from like I said, aside from NASA, he's got the smartest engineers working for
yeah,
him.
well, I mean, he's competing with NASA now as far as
Yeah,
getting those engineers, because I don't even know if NASA's doing anything. I don't think they are.
yeah,
I think that program is kind of like it exists, but they're not.
they're
They're not
not what
working
they used to be.
correct. So
You know what's funny? I think about it. Like I just thought about it right now. It's how must it feel to be Elon Musk's brother? You get me? Your brother's like the super genius.
Tony,
Yeah, and you're just the other guy. You get me? When you're, oh, I'm his brother. You get me? And me having a brother of my own is kind of one of those things where, like, man, I want to outdo him. You can never outdo Elon Musk,
I don't think so.
no matter what you
No,
try to do.
no.
You'd have to save the world from something crazy.
Hey, and I want, if Elon's listening, if they can sponsor the Galaxy as the next sponsor on the shirt. I think I saw a mock-up today of SpaceX
Yeah,
on the Galaxy shirt instead of Herbalife Nutrition.
yeah.
Ooh, that would be the best. That would be awesome.
All the money funneling
Yeah,
in from
and it's
sponsorships.
local.
Yeah. So now that you bring up sports, I wanted to ask you because you actually went to practice today for the
I did,
Galaxy.
yes.
How was that?
Amazing. So, we work on the same street.
Yeah.
I got an email last week saying that season ticket members can come by from 10 to noon and watch an open practice with the full team.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. It was really hot, but there was only about 10 people there. I had to
Yeah.
park a little far away, but I drove through the gate and, they directed me where to go. I walked over there and, I mean, I got to see some of the new players. We have a few international defenders that were signed. Ola Kamara,
Mm-hmm.
new striker. Seeing some guys that were injured. Leggett last year back.
Yeah.
You got to see the Dos Santos brothers and my favorite player Alessandrini.
Yeah.
And they're maybe 35 yards away from me playing like 7-on-7, sort of like the goals are sucked in. I think it's like a finishing drill that they were practicing towards the end of their practice.
Yeah.
And then then they were running sprint drills afterwards. And it's just crazy to see like the size of them. Some dudes are massive. Some dudes I'm bigger than.
Yeah.
And it's like there was a 16-year-olds from the Los Dos squad out there training with them too, and it's like I just wish I was out there just playing a few touches with them.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me like, oh man, I think I could like
Do
at least
this.
pass to one of them like
Yeah.
as they're running by, but clearly the level is so high and intense, and yeah, it was so much fun, and they're doing it again tomorrow, so I'll be out there again
Out there,
tomorrow.
you'll be out there supporting
Yeah,
tomorrow. I told you that I see the excitement within the Galaxy organization just because of these moves, and the main one being Zlatan wanting to come over here.
yeah,
And I told you that if he comes over here, they're gonna get a new season ticket holder, and it's one of those things where I see people, and we talked about this earlier off air, which is kind of like loyalty towards teams and the disloyalty towards players.
hmm
So when if anyone that doesn't watch soccer is listening to this, Zlatan he was a great player, world class player. Obviously, he's fell off the map a little bit with injuries and stuff, but he is transferred from team to team. And soccer is one of those sports where it's really it's brutal on the players. You don't perform, you're gone within 6 months, a year. You're not there that long. So he is on PSG, my favorite team now. I watch him, I become a fan of his, and then I have to go through the agony of losing him. So then he goes to Man United, gets hurt, can't play. Now he's coming to Galaxy. Him still being one of my favorite players, even though he's not on my team, makes me want to follow him and follow the Galaxy. Now, as a fan of him, and I see the progression that maybe the Galaxy will have, I'll stay on board. You get me? But it's some people need pathways to get into these teams. You
yes,
get me? And
yeah,
Zlatan might be one of them. You get me?
absolutely. That's part of it. The offseason the Galaxy have had this year is one of the best that I know of, maybe in the history of the club. They offloaded a lot of dead weight, a lot of players that weren't performing last year. They got rid of every goalkeeper. We did not have a starting goalkeeper 2 months ago. So we did all of the right moves as far as getting the right players to compete in the league, and I think we have a very good chance of winning the title this year. Now, Zlatan could come to the Galaxy and score 20 goals. I guarantee it if he's healthy.
Yeah.
He's just that special of a player, but with that said, that's a business decision because even though we got the right players in the offseason, I think to compete in the league, that's not drawing attention to the club as much unless you start winning. But just the players themselves are not going to get people excited that are not already fans.
Yeah.
Signing like Ibrahimovic does that, takes care of that. The
We-
billboards, the advertising,
Yeah.
the buzz, every game in the season will be sold out.
And he's one of those international stars. He's like the David Beckham. Obviously, he's not as big as David Beckham when it comes to popularity because everybody knows David Beckham as a model, as a soccer player, played for England, this prodigy. Zlatan is all of that, but only on the field. He does his private life is private, so he's not on TV here. David Beckham, you would see him here.
Right,
You
yeah.
get me? So it would help in the soccer perspective of for the LA Galaxy. But when it comes to maybe breaking out a star, he has that type of personality that if they promote him the right way, like you said, Galaxy will sell out every single game.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as the ink goes on the paper for him to come here, it's sold out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
And do
And-
they win?
Yes,
They win.
they win. Yeah,
They win
They win.
with him.
they do.
Yeah.
So this is a very good Galaxy team.
Really.
Yes.
Yeah. So you said that they offloaded a lot of dead weight, and we discussed this while we were off air. And I said that because of the NBA trades that are going on right now, that the LeBron James quote kind of hit me real hard, just because he comes out and he says publicly, when teams trade players, it's in the better business of the team. When players decide to take their own fate and leave, it's selfish and it's not they have no loyalty. So how do you feel as a fan of a team who enjoys these players performing good, and then when they don't perform good, you want to revamp? But how do you feel towards that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always fall on the player side when it comes to this. Like you said, if it's in the best interest for the team, whether it's money wise or for whatever they think is, they'll get rid of the player. They don't. Rare occasions, maybe the Derek Jeter type player, uh, Tom Brady. Essentially, if they want to stay on those
They
teams,
can stay as long as they want.
they're never going to get rid of them. Few players in the world, I think,
Mhm.
exist like that. And anywhere else, I don't think the organizations really care.
Mhm.
And so I'm always going to side on the player. And if you kind of break it down, thinking of an average person with a regular job, um, if they feel they have a better opportunity somewhere else,
Take it.
go ahead,
Yeah.
because they could get laid off for any reason. If the company's downsizing for whatever reason.
Mhm.
So I kind of look at it that way. So you got to do what's in the best interest for the player, or what the player thinks is. And as a fan, you fall in love with certain players, and it's
Yeah.
hard. But I see a lot in soccer. If you go on a new team and you score against them, there's no celebration. There's a lot of respect for the fans.
Yeah.
There's a few exceptions I've seen in the past where they'll kind of rub it in the faces, but at least for like that first season and the first goal, like they, a lot of respect, and that's all you ask for. If they were good to you, you'll wish the best for them on at their new place. Not against you though.
Yeah, not against you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the biggest one that I can compare that to when it comes to soccer terms is, for me, because I personally saw this, was Di Maria, I believe, last year in the Champions League or 2 years ago in the Champions League when they played against Madrid. And he said if he scored, he wouldn't celebrate because that was his team.
Hmm.
You get me? So I can understand that stuff. Coming from obviously my love for sports, it's no one's bigger than the team. So
Agreed.
I can understand, hey, look, we have to let you go because you're not performing. Obviously, when you perform, everyone loves you. When you don't, they hate you. You get me? But I also don't, I can't get upset if a guy says, yo, I'm not getting paid what I feel that I'm worth, because we should all be paid what we feel we're worth. So if I'm like a Celtics fan and Kyrie Irving feels he deserves 50 more million, hey, all power to you. Hopefully you get that money, because I'm not paying you. The team has to pay you. If you decide to leave, I will be upset. But if you decide to leave for your personal reasons because you want the betterment of your own life, I can't say anything against that.
No.
You get me? So I think with these trades, Isaiah Thomas getting traded again. You get me? All these guys that like Blake Griffin just got traded not that
D
long
Wade
ago.
back to Miami.
D Wade back to Miami. It's crazy. You get me? It's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah.
But again, these teams are making the best entrance for their teams, also because they want to make money, because they understand that the fans need to be happy.
Yeah. I mean, NBA is like, it's so wild right now because of the Warriors, how they
Dominance.
broke the league.
Yeah.
It's almost like I don't even know what's happening now, and I don't know what teams are trying to do.
Hmm. Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, I know, right?
That was here.
Yeah, no, that was me. I
Oh,
accidentally
okay.
bumped it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Really, like, I don't even know what Cleveland is doing. In the East, you still have a chance to make the finals. In the West, I mean, anything can happen, right?
Mhm.
An injury or two happens to the Warriors.
They're
Anything happen.
done, yeah.
Yeah, it's not impossible, but it's not probable the
Yeah.
way things are going. If you're the Lakers, if you're the Clippers, teams like that, you don't have a chance this year, or
Well,
or the next couple years.
when it comes to like Cleveland, who just literally offloaded like 7 players,
Yeah.
they have a completely different team that now than they did yesterday.
Yeah, I mean they needed to, right? Like
They
what's
were
been happening with
they've
them?
been
They
playing
just
super bad.
like
Yeah.
losing when they have a lead,
They have
18
a
point
lead
lead.
by they have a lead by 10 or more, and they end up losing by 18, 20 points.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's crazy because you know that LeBron will always be LeBron, but when in retrospect when you see, hey, this is who you have to face in the finals, whether it be a Houston Rockets team, whether it be Golden State finally picking it up, because Golden State has been playing kind of bad as well. They've lost a couple
They
games.
they don't need to try.
As long as they're healthy in the playoffs, that's all that
Yeah.
matters. It's Basketball is one of those sports where you need stars, not like baseball. Baseball, you need stars, but you just need players that can perform.
Yeah, you need those utility players that day in
base
and day
runners,
out
yeah.
can play multiple positions,
Mhm.
different spots of the lineup, and it's a grind. It's 162 games, man. I mean, NBA is a grind. It's not what baseball is, though. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's not what baseball is, and it's even football, with football just ending, and obviously,
congrats, by the way.
yeah. Listen, I've been hearing that left and right, and they
Yeah.
keep asking me, "Are you still happy today?" I will be excited till the first day of training camp. That's how I feel. Whenever the Red Sox would win a World Series, the same way. When the Celtics won a championship, the same way. Why? Because when your team finally wins a championship, it's your right to enjoy it with the team. Now, uh, when I see the city and when I see the fans of the team in Philadelphia wreck the city, that's kind of a bummer. And we talked about this about uh, the main one. There's two main things. The first one being the guy that is in the street eating shit, and he's being encouraged um, by his fellow peers to eat it, and he's in a Randall Cunningham jersey, and he's in all Eagles uniform, and he's in all fours, and he looks dead at it, and he just decides this is the one. He puts his mouth to it, and he chews it.
What's going on?
And
Why?
so here's what I think, and this is what I told you. I told you personally, me, if I wasn't an Eagles or a Red Sox fan, I would despise these fans because they're so passionate about it that they'll go to any length to enjoy something, to bash something. They're to the extreme, and it's something that I can see from a distance, and I say, man, you know what? Because I'm a fan of this team, I enjoy it. But if I wasn't a fan of the team, if I was from the outside looking in, I would despise it.
Yeah.
You get me? Because it's not. How does that help better promote the team? How does that help create a better picture for the team? It doesn't.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I'm of an age and I guess a maturity where, say my team won, I wouldn't go downtown and even go in the crowd. I think it would just be a bad idea, just to be mixed up, because you never know what's going to happen. I think there's a little mentality. I think, how many people were there? Do you know?
It must have
100,000?
thousands.
So what? Maybe there was like a few hundred, like dipshits. Yeah.
And it might have even been more than that because you just keep seeing these videos surface.
Yeah.
Of like roofs breaking down and
yeah.
guys
So
on
that
poles.
canopy just like collapsing. Yeah, I think a lot of the people were there just to the energy and the excitement, and with your fellow citizens of the city. I can appreciate that, and I think that's cool that you can celebrate. But taking it too far, I don't understand. Some mob mentality. It's drunk people. You ever like go somewhere like to a bar or like a party, right? And everyone's like drinking, but for whatever reason you didn't drink that time, and you're like, "Fuck, man, these people are annoying." Like, am I like that?
Do I really want to be here? Is that how I look when I'm there?
Or like if you're walking back from a bar and there's a bunch of people and you maybe just had a few, so you're just feeling okay, but they're just smashed and they're like, and you're like, what is wrong? Like, God, I'm never like. This is. I don't want to be associated with this. I think that's just a lot of people are just there to have a good time, and the people who took it too far.
Yeah.
I mean, eating horse shit or whatever kind of animal it was.
That was horse shit for sure.
That I don't get it. And the people saying eat it.
Encouraging him to
don't do that. People, do not encourage that. Be better. Be better humans, please.
Yeah, and it wasn't even. See, the funny thing is they brought it up as if this was the first time that they've done it, and. It actually happened in Cleveland when the Cavs won the championship. There was a guy that picked it up and he bit it. And then after he bit it, he chewed it and he walked away like he was like real cool. And he threw it up and then it like caught it with his mouth and kept chewing it. And it's just like...
I don't like this trend.
People do not start an eating shit championship
I'd rather the
trend.
Tide Pod trend happen than the eating shit trend.
Man, It's crazy, and obviously it's crazy to us because we would never do this.
No.
You get me? We would never do something like that. And if you think that's cool, lose my number. 100% lose my number. Don't text me. Don't message me. Unfollow me. That is not normal. 100% is not normal.
Yeah. What's going on? Why would someone do that? Has that person been found and interviewed?
I hope that they're found, and I hope that they come out and say that they lost the bet. Now, it wouldn't make sense because why would you be an Eagles fan betting against them winning the Super
Yeah,
Bowl?
there's no logical explanation for
Now,
this event.
if it was a Patriots fan that maybe did it around Eagles fans, it would make more sense. It still wouldn't. I couldn't justify it, but it would make more sense.
Yeah.
You get me? But it's just one of those things that it's crazy. I can't believe that it's happening, and you wouldn't see that here, by the way. In
Yeah, I don't
LA,
think
you
in
wouldn't
LA
see that.
you would not see someone eating shit.
That I will say.
Yeah.
I'll give LA fans credit for. They probably wouldn't do that.
You'll see the fires. You'll see.
Fights, maybe.
Maybe, I guess.
When they see
maybe.
other teams, fans, and stuff.
Yeah, but like if we're celebrating a championship victory, you're not going to see them fighting each other. That's rare. You'll see some cars flipped over, and it's stupid, and I hate it. And it's always a black guy in the city. I don't know if any large city is immune to it. I mean, I don't know. When the Mavericks won, did anyone? I don't think so. I didn't hear anything. But
when the Spurs win championships, you don't hear anything.
No.
I didn't hear anything from the Astros winning the World Series. You get me? And that's not a rub against you, but it's just I didn't hear anything from the Astros. I don't hear anything from Golden State. Is the same thing.
Yeah. When the Galaxy won,
nothing.
You
get me?
That's a joke.
But here,
no one cares.
The thing about the Galaxy is I don't even hear a parade.
Yeah.
You get me?
I mean, there was a joke that I told a lot of people for a few years. Not a joke, but like, if you walked around the streets, like interviewing just the man on the street, who was the last team to win back-to-back titles? The answer could have been the Kings and the Galaxy, and I don't think a lot of, like, probably 1 out of 10 would have even known that. Maybe said Kings. No one's going to say the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the most successful team in LA in the last 20 years.
In the last couple of decades.
Yeah.
And it's just the excitement is not there right now. But
Not
it's
yet.
a sport that's
It's getting
growing.
there. Yeah.
So the World Cup is coming up. You get me? It's a pain for you to talk about it because the U.S. isn't there, but it actually ties in with this. It's kind of a downer because the U.S. isn't in there, and every 4 years when the U.S. makes it, there's this big like uproar of fans that get together, and
It's kind of cool.
and they embrace the soccer nation.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that they're not there this year, but I do see a lot of support for soccer now than there was before.
Yeah. I mean, especially where we live,
Mm-hmm.
such a melting pot of cultures and diversities that soccer is a big thing as far as like where people are from, where their hometowns are. Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for it. Of course, like gutted that USA is out of it, and it's not that we didn't make it. It's that I basically have to wait 8 years
for another one.
Yeah, I mean, essentially 8 years from the last time I saw them play again, if they make it. That's saying they make it. There's still a long road ahead. Teams are good now. Honduras is good.
Got better. Panama
Costa
got
Rica,
better.
you can essentially say Costa Rica's at the same level as the United States or even better.
Mm-hmm.
Panama.
Mexico's always been a
Of course,
powerhouse.
Mexico. Jamaica's not bad.
Canada's gone a little
Canada's,
bit better.
you know what? In 10 years, Canada's going to be at a much higher level, and they're going to compete.
But see, here's the thing: is that people don't understand when it comes to soccer. It's now that it's a growing sport. Now that kids that are born here want to grow up and be soccer players, because realistically, when it comes to maybe minorities, like mostly Hispanic people, and even white people. It's just like now that's a new outlet. You get me? Now we saw the Donovans of the world, and now we're getting to see all these new guys that are coming up. It's and the main one being, man, you're gonna kill me for this. It's Christian Pulisic.
I was letting you find it out because I was like, you know this.
So the main one being him, and him being on a German team and having this exposure and. Maybe he could have taken the national team for a quarterfinal, semifinal run. He's that good. Now you're not gonna win the World Cup with just one guy, but he's that good to where kids are gonna say, "Hey, maybe I want to play for the U.S. Maybe this is what I want to do at the age of 5, 6, 7, and then focus on that." So the sport's gonna just boom.
Yeah, it was just a mixture. It was like the perfect storm of shit for us to not make it. Older players, bad coaching, at the top level, bad president of U.S. soccer. Now there's an election going on, which I don't know if that's going to fix anything. And there's a lot of problems that came to light because of this. So there's some positivity to it as far as a lot of shit went wrong and it has to be fixed. So
And a lot of it all is also the other teams got better.
yeah, and
Meanwhile,
partly because
you're
of
not
MLS, because
Yeah,
before MLS, those players maybe played in their own countries,
Yeah,
which are not that great as far as the skill level. So now a lot of those countries are have a mix of MLS players and other international. They play for other teams across the world, and MLS is a big part of why those teams are good. It's almost developed some of those players to be at that level. So yeah, I'm super excited for the World Cup. I think the time won't be terrible as far as what time it's aired. I think it's going to be a little early, but that'll at least allow us to watch it. And if you have to work or something like that, you go to work afterwards.
yeah. I think they're on a 12 or 11 hour difference. So if the game there is at 7 in the night, I think it'll be aired here at 8 in the morning. So I think people will just be getting up,
Yeah.
getting to work. You'll have to watch it on the computer. But that's the beauty of where we are now. We live in a day where, and hopefully you don't text and drive. You don't watch videos
No.
and drive. You're not on your phone and
Stay
drive.
off your fucking phone.
Yeah, but you can listen to the radio.
There you
get
go.
me?
Yeah.
As you're driving, you listen to the radio. You're listening to a stream, an audio stream.
Yeah.
And then when you get to work, hopefully you work in an environment where maybe you can have the pop-up screen on the corner as you're doing your job.
Have it on your phone on your desk, but doing your emails or whatever.
Or
Yeah.
even if you're a student and you're in at home, but maybe you have practice, you're an athlete, or maybe you can't be at home, you have to go with your parents, you could watch it on your phone.
Yeah.
You get me? So there's so much access to it. That's why I believe that it sucks that the team is not there, but it's good for the overall sport in general.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm so stoked for it. I
Who do
mean,
you have?
I haven't made that decision yet.
It's easy for me. I
Who is it?
honestly think Germany's gonna win. I think they're too strong.
But is that who you're rooting for?
That's who I'm rooting for. 100%.
Really?
I even rooted for them last World Cup.
The whole way, or
the
just
whole way from them. Even, and obviously we have a coworker who's German, and I would get a lot of shit from it because they were like, oh yeah. And towards the end, when they played the U.S., when they played Argentina, they were like, oh, you're just going for them. I'm like, no, you only see the jersey, but I only have the jersey now because I ordered it 4 weeks in advance. You get me? So when the World Cup started, I knew how strong that team was, and my favorite player when it comes to international soccer, aside from Zlatan now, was Michael Ballack. You get me? I remember seeing him when I was younger.
Yeah.
And it was just like, man, I like this dude. He's a midfielder. He controls the ball. He's like the captain of the team. Everyone sees him as the leader, and that's kind of what I gravitated to. So Michael Ballack was always the guy for me.
Yeah. For me, I'm rooting for the underdog in every single matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, if it's a big matchup, I'm gonna root for the team that I like better. But like if it's Argentina and Germany, it's gonna be tough. I don't know. I don't know who I would pick, but I'm just excited for good football. I mean, I remember the first game last year. I think Van Persie had that diving header, and it's just
the Flying
iconic.
Dutchman.
Yeah, and just it's amazing. There's a handful of goals that are just world class, world beaters, and I can't wait to witness those. And it's so special, and it's the best sports tournament I think
in the
world.
Yeah. See, this is the thing that I have with people that live here. It's just like, soccer's not important. It's like it's not a major sport, and it's like they're called the World Cup, and it's nation versus nation. And yes, it's every 4 years, but throughout those 4 years, you have the Champions League every year. You have, and yes, it's not. They're not leagues that are here, but the MLS will get to that point eventually.
Yeah.
Where it's like the NBA. The problem that the MLS has, and we've discussed this, is that they have that big gap in the middle where they don't play games. And yeah, some European leagues have that, but it was rooted in there. Those teams are from the 1800s, the early 1900s.
Yeah, and we'll get there. There's a unique set of circumstances with the geography of the United States that makes
It hard.
it hard. I mean, we're so spread out and so far. In Europe, they're bus rides away sometimes from these teams.
Yeah.
Before LAFC came and when it was Chivas USA, before they came back, our closest rival is in San Jose, and that's 8.5 hours away. It's like,
The earthquake.
yeah, that's not even our closest rival, even though they are. But that's the closest team to us.
Yeah.
So, that's a unique set of circumstances. I think American soccer is too soft as far as scheduling, and even that they complain too much about, like, oh, they're so far. It's true, but you know what? I don't care.
You have
Let's
to
let's
deal with
let's
it.
let's play more
Football
games.
deals with it.
Yeah, let's play more games. You got to get those teams and charter status though. MLS teams can only take 5 chartered flights a year.
And they play
Other than that,
something games.
they could be on your flight going to wherever you're going. It's like, what?
Yeah.
They should be on their own plane. Seriously, let's give them that rest.
Especially if you're charging people that want to start a franchise $100 million.
Yeah.
And I get that it's for the safety of the league, but it's like, hey, where is all that money going?
Yeah.
It's not like it's going to the
And I think it's safe to say that MLS is here to stay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's folding. I think the structure that they created was smart, and it's got us to this point.
And it's expanding. Obviously,
It's
you
expanding,
just saw
yeah.
the new team.
I mean,
with
how
Atlanta.
many teams are we gonna have?
I mean,
30?
What are you at right now?
22?
I say 30 would be perfect. When you look at other countries, it's 20. And then but they have relegation.
Yeah.
So if you don't
and you play
wanna
one
have-
home, one away.
Yeah, so
Even schedules.
So if you don't want to have relegation, you would have to expand to 30 and have 30 games.
Yeah.
You play one home, one away.
No, you have like 38 games, I think. I think
Right now.
you no, yeah, so right now it's 32, I think, in MLS.
Mm-hmm.
Like the top leagues have about 38, I think.
Yeah.
And I think in MLS you'd probably want to do that. I don't know if you'd play every team every year though.
Mm-hmm.
You'd probably play in your division or conference each team twice, like a home and away, and then a scatter. But it's so hard because you have an unbalanced schedule. You can't. That's why there's a playoff. There's not a top of the table, because you might play New York Red Bulls once, and the next team plays them 3 times. It's like,
Yeah.
how can you? It's not a balanced schedule.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
I think that a lot of it, and maybe this is something that they could have fixed from the very beginning, was creating domes instead of
What do you mean?
open stadiums.
Oh,
It would help you out. You get me?
that's true. So weather is not a concern.
Weather's not a concern.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
you can't complain about it. Yo, we have to play in the snow. We have to play in the rain. We can't make this flight or something like that or we're not going to take this flight over there because we're probably not going to play this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think, to be honest, I think there should be relegation.
Mhm.
It's not at the stage to where we can sustain that. But I think in the next decade, absolutely. I've kind of, I don't know if I came up with this or I heard this, so I'm not going to take credit for it. But I think there's going to be an MLS 1 and an MLS 2,
Mhm.
because the teams that are in MLS had to invest so much money, like you said, 100 million just to start the team. Those owners don't want to lose that investment if you start a new team and then next year you're
You're
at
in
the bottom,
yeah.
where all the other teams in the world kind of had the reverse process, where they start off as nothing and they kind of grew,
They
and
worked
then
their way up.
they passed through, got promoted, went through different leagues, and eventually they grew into a top team. But I think maybe you have 40 teams in MLS. You have an MLS 1 and MLS 2, so you can never go below MLS 2.
Mhm.
But MLS 1 has, like,
Top tier
the
team.
top tier teams, the best TV scheduling and deals. So like maybe the MLS 2 plays on like Fridays, right? So it's hard to get to those matches and stuff like that. But MLS 1 gets the Saturday and the Sunday games, that sort of thing. I think that's a good compromise, and it adds some sort of like excitement to the promotion and relegation. That's just one,
Well, you know that it can be fixed because you have 4 other major sports that it works for. You get me? All these other teams have to play, but I think that hockey, basketball, they're sports that are played indoors,
Yeah.
and you can make stadiums for
Sure.
that.
I mean, Atlanta has the new conversion stadiums, so where it can be outdoor and indoor. I don't know if you've seen
On a
where
sunny
the
day,
yeah.
you can open
And they share that with the
the
Falcons, the
yeah.
Mercedes-Benz
Why
stadium.
not do that? You get me?
Yeah,
It would be a smart investment for the city, for the team.
especially if in those climates, any new stadium should have that sort of option. But the soccer specific stadiums are tough because they're only usually about 20 to 25,000
Yeah.
to create that enclosed space. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess it's hard to engineer it that way because
Yeah.
I've never seen a smaller stadium with the dome.
Well, the smartest things that they could do is maybe team up with the NFL franchises. You get me? A lot of these teams are in cities where there is an NFL franchise.
Yeah,
Team up, partner up, owners partner.
I'm going
up.
to disagree with that.
Really?
Yeah, even though the Chargers play at the StubHub Center, no, I don't want anything to do with fucking football. Like,
Really?
yeah, I don't like it. You get things where NFL is such a beast. They're going to take all priority.
Yeah.
The signage, the look of the stadium is never going to look like the MLS team or the soccer team that's there. They're going to have football lines on the field when they're playing soccer. Usually, NFL teams are now all on turf.
Yeah.
And they're not on grass.
But they're all things that this is kind of where all those things can be fixed because as long as you put in the money, and it all comes back to money. If you put in the money into it, look what the Clippers do when they play in the Staples Center. You don't see anything that has to do with
but
the
it's
Lakers.
man, when the Clippers play there, it's like there's a different
It's a
vibe,
fake home,
man.
yeah.
It sucks, and so you said fake home. I think that's very clear when you're there. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't like when I went there at the stadium today. It's all Galaxy stuff.
Yeah.
When the Chargers play there, yeah, they skin
The Chargers stuff.
the
the
Charger
Galaxy
stuff on it.
Yeah.
But you can still tell that that's where the Galaxy play, and it is kind of great, and I am proud that there's a football team renting a soccer stadium.
Well, you know that, and listen, if I'm wrong about this, this is what I heard, that the Lakers don't even own the Staples Center. They rent in the Staples Center as well. It's not their legitimate home.
I didn't know that.
So it's one of those things that if it is true, and anyone that listens to this can verify me and blast me up.
Corrections and retractions.
Yeah. But I don't fact check, so if I did, I would get this right. But that's kind of what I heard, that they don't even rent there. They don't even own the Staples Center. They rent there.
But their first priority, right? Like,
I mean, I guess because they won.
Staples is a unique deal with the Kings, the Clippers, and the Lakers, and then all the concerts and shit that they have there. I don't even know.
It only matters if you're generating money.
Yeah.
It only
but
matters.
I would, for the Clippers' sake, I would love for them to get their own stadium. Or their own arena. I don't care about the Clippers, but I think that would be great for those Clipper fans to separate from that. It sucks. You don't want to share it with anybody. The Kings and Lakers, it makes a little more sense. Like I'm sure there's a lot of hockey teams and basketball teams that kind of
share the same stadium.
Yeah.
But to have two basketball teams and a hockey team and have almost the same schedule.
Yeah.
Because they
play
the
same
months.
Time. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. You might have a hockey game one day, and then right after you might have a basketball game.
That would be a fun job. Like I've always thought
that works there.
that does the scheduling.
Oh, the scheduling
like
for that?
preseason, where you know that the Clippers are playing, so the Lakers, like whatever the algorithms that they use on the computers. I think that would be a fun job. But also the conversion of like hockey to basketball to circus or whatever the hell they do.
So I know someone who works, and I'll let you know off air just because I don't want to put anyone's name on it, but I know someone who works there.
Yeah.
Who has something to do with that.
That's impressive. I always see the time lapse, and it looks really cool.
Change,
yeah.
It's crazy, but I mean, look, there's so many things that people can do. There's so many things that money can do. As long as you're willing to invest some money in it, you can make it happen.
But back to the point, I want soccer to stay away from the NFL. It's a beast, and it's gonna encompass everything that has to do with the team, and it won't feel like a real home. I get what you're saying about it, but the future's bright for soccer in America and for the United States soccer team. It's bright for the LA Galaxy, so I'm pretty stoked about the progress that the league has made and the future of it. Yeah,
and it'll be one of those things that when the World Cup hits, you'll see it, even though there's no support for the national team because they're not there. You'll still see U.S.
Yeah, I mean, I went to many games where U.S. was already out of it
Mm-hmm.
in Pasadena and stuff like that, and it's so cool. You get the people that are actually like from those countries there. You can tell
Mm-hmm.
supporting their teams, and then also just the regular like whether you're American or whatever nationality you are, rooting for those other teams. It's very cool. It's a good time. It was always like, I've been to some places where NFL is playing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like Cowboys against whoever, and it's like people are mad at each other. This is like it's a different vibe. It's like, of course,
Camaraderie.
yeah, you want your team to win, but it's not like a hostile environment at all. It's at a bar where there's almost equal amount of people on both sides of it, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone gets along. It's a really cool thing to be a part of and to experience. I love it. I can't wait for the World Cup.
It's probably because those knuckleheads that are eating shit haven't infested the MLS yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's bad apples everywhere, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's NFL is like gets a weird certain fan, the fighting and the
It's
aggression
the
and
mob mentality, like you said
yeah,
earlier. Yeah, that's basically what it is.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. We'll see. We'll obviously once the World Cup starts, we'll bust out a lot of Why Even Care soccer podcasts and stuff and review stuff. I see. This is what upsets me when it comes to scheduling guests, and I knew that you were going to be on ahead of time. We were trying to figure out exactly where we wanted to go. I don't. What I don't want to happen with guests in the future is where I don't want people to come on and be like, "Oh, this person is only known for this."
Yeah.
You get me? I want it to be diverse, but I had always said, "Oh, we're gonna do NFL recap and stuff," and I can never get this guy on to commit to it. So it's just
Who, me?
no,
Okay. I
someone
was like,
else.
I'll commit.
No, so uh, now that the NFL season's over, now I know I have my baseball people, I have my basketball people, I have my MMA people. So it's just like you'll see more of these same people on while still throwing in that artist. You get me? I'm trying to reach out and get more people on, trying to just discover people. I
Yeah.
realize that I catch myself trying to find people that are trying to do something more than just having conversations like this because I know people will enjoy this, but I also want people to support that person that needs that support, the new
Yeah.
musician.
I think there's a good mix that you have going on.
And
Like
I hope
every
I.
episode is like different,
Mhm.
unique, fun, and you're doing a really good job like finding people. So
Well,
kudos, dude. That's
it,
awesome.
if anyone knows anyone that is like trying to do something, trying to promote something, trying to create something, like I just want to get those people on here.
Yeah.
And it's selfish of me because I also want to be on other platforms to grow this. But I'm man, I've been messaging a lot of people, trying to get a lot of different people on.
You
So,
got to get some esports people.
oh, dude, I'm telling
Do a
you,
video game show.
yeah. So I have one specific person in mind. Like I said, we'll have all the discussions, and you guys will see him soon. He plays um, this fighting game, and he was ranked like 10th in the world, and you know who he is. Uh,
Let me ask you.
mhm.
There's a debate of esports being a sport or not.
It is. You don't
You
even
think
have
it's a
to ask.
sport?
I think it's a sport because I think
In what sense?
in the sense that it's a challenge. It's something
Okay.
that you have to overcome. Now, you're telling me that your brain isn't part of your body. You're
Are
telling
board games a sport?
if you can put it in a competitive zone to where you're
Chess?
matching each other. Chess is one of them. Chess. Now, it's not a sport in the sense it's like it's not combat. It's not physical activity.
There's no athleticism.
There's no NASCAR.
There's athleticism.
You get me? Now, you can't limit athleticism into just one thing where it's your physical body. You have to train the
So
mind too.
here's what I think, and I've had this conversation many times.
Mhm.
Esports is a real thing,
Mhm.
and like it's going somewhere. And there's a lot of people that play it off like, oh, this is fucking video games, like nerds. I'm
It's
telling
not
you,
that, man.
and you know this, I don't need to tell you, but this is real and it's making money and a lot of money and it's popular and it's awesome. However, I think it should just be esports.
It should be.
Esports, like
It'll
it,
have like an.
and it's
asterisk
okay.
attached
It's
to it.
okay to not be called a sport
Yeah,
because it's not a sport.
I think that the same way that they created the selfie word and they added it to dictionary, there will be a word that will come around that will define esports in its own category, and it won't be esports anymore for competitive gaming. But I think that for now, if you're saying that it's not a sport, it's wrong because it's people strategizing against each other. You get me? That's what you're doing.
Yeah, but I think lacking the physical nature of it is what makes it not a sport.
These thumbs can do things that other
They
thumbs can't do.
So yeah, there's dexterity involved and there's hand-eye coordination, but it's not a sport.
It's not
a sport.
What the normal
It's an e-sport.
And I'm not,
and that's
I'm okay
fine.
with that.
Yeah, and that's okay.
That.
That's all I'm saying is there's that debate that like calling it a sport.
Yeah, it's not. It's not physical sport.
Because you're the same as me. Like you like sports. You love sports and video games, and you fucking play sports and you play video games. Exactly. So you know what it takes.
Now it doesn't look like it, but I can still get up.
Nah, it looks like it.
I can still touch. I can still get up there and touch the backboard. I still run up and down. I huff and puff, but I get. But
you're involved, and you have firsthand experience
of what it is like. Yeah. But I think that when it comes to that, there's such a negative idea when it comes to that. But let me say this: I believe it was 2016 esports, they had the E-League here. The winners of that tournament made more money than the winner of the PGA, the Masters, than Serena Williams, and 2 other sports combined. The winners of that tournament made more money than those 4 major, well, not major, but those 4 sports that are seen as, this is legitimately a sport.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of money involved in it.
The money, I don't think, and it's possible that in the future, someone who does esports can make more than someone who does a traditional sport.
Yeah.
It's very possible. But there's Instagram models that make more than soccer players. Yeah. So for me, they're legitimate. And that's what I think people need to get behind is that this is real and it's not a sport and they're making a lot of money. But that doesn't, you're comparing 2 different things. Like
that's why I will say they're 2 different things.
Yes.
But is there the challenge of having to do something?
Yeah, and they're strategizing. Yes. There's practicing. There's communication, which is all involved. But there is something different.
Physical limitation that they're not doing.
Correct.
And I listen. I 100% respect that. Like you said, the Instagram model or something like that. That in itself, that is not okay. That I'm not for young people. I don't want them to aspire to be that. Like now. When I remember when I was young, my mom would be like, get off the gaming. Get off, go out, go do something, do your homework or something.
Yeah.
Now kids can grow up and say, yo, if I am really good at this, I can make money online gaming.
I love it because, when I was a kid, you weren't born yet, it was just Nintendo and Sega. Yeah. And people that I grew up with said they wanted to do something with video games for a living, and they got laughed at. Teacher said, "Be serious. You have to."
Now you can't laugh at us anymore,
you can't.
Bitches.
Yeah, this is real, and it's awesome, and video games are fucking the best, and it's like when you think about like something like Call of Duty, or the new Halo that's going to come out whenever that comes out, how much money that generates? You're talking about $60 a title, or digital download. I mean, and the millions of people that are playing it at $60, and then the DLC. Like,
plus
they make more than movies make.
Yeah.
And people still don't respect video games.
It'll change. And it has changed.
Yeah.
And it will continue to change. The generation that has experienced this and has grown up with video games in their life, it's like music and the internet. You get me? I don't know what it is to live without the internet.
It sucked.
Now, so I don't know that. And I also don't know what it is to live without gaming. You get me? But you'll see more people in their 30s, early 40s, maybe 45 and a couple years down that are still going at it. And the old heads, as you would call them, that they're going to be a dying breed.
Yeah.
The mentality will change.
It seems like esports seems a little ruthless to me right now. Like, whenever I see the competitions on TV or online, I don't see many people older than 21 that are competitively gaming, and I think maybe part of it is it takes a lot out of you,
Yeah.
and you need to decompress and get away from that life. But there's probably going to be a balance that somebody finds soon where they can have a long career in it. I don't know if that exists yet. I don't know if there's one person who's, it's still so new and
So here's my opinion on that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. The reason why I think that is because the guys that are really good at it have been playing these games since they were in school.
yeah,
They would get out of school, and that's the first thing they would do. So now that there's a possibility to make money off of it, now you can just focus on that, make money, and just that's your life.
yeah.
When before it was, man, now I have to go to work.
That's a
Man,
good
I have
point.
to do
Yeah,
this.
so clearly, like, I can maybe play Call of Duty 2 to 3 times a week at
Mhm.
maybe 2 hours at a time. That's no way, like,
That you can't get better than those guys
that's
that are
that's
doing
like
it.
me growing up trying to be a soccer player or a hockey player and only playing 5 or 6 hours a week.
Mhm.
I'll play on a team, but I'm not going to be a professional.
Yeah,
So
you'll never
so I
make
think you're right. I think it's that young people do have the
the time.
no responsibilities.
Hmm.
Not I'm not saying this in a negative way, but if you're off school for the summer,
That's all you
you can
can
just
do.
grind on video games.
Yeah. And then once you get out of school, you can say, "Hey, I'm super good at this. Let me get in on a team
Yeah.
for esports,
Yeah.
make money," and then that's all you do.
It's awesome, man.
So as we grow, that's
No, I
what's
think yeah.
you're gonna
So
see.
yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, good insight. I like that.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how everything is. Obviously, like I said, we'll be back and we'll do a lot more of these. And there's a lot of great things in store. Uh, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to leave a review. Don't forget to follow on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook page is up. And then don't forget to follow my man Danny Three Stacks for any updates. Uh,
There's not a lot of updates, but don't forget to follow the LA Galaxy.
yes.
Season starts, I think, in about 3.5 weeks. So
And hey, listen, the more fans that go out there, the better. This is the one team that I can say that I will support. Uh, I'm just waiting for that Zlatan signature.
yeah,
So,
but even if he doesn't come out to a game, let's go, man.
you'll
Let's have
say
some
it.
fun. Yeah,
We'll go. So,
cool.
again, thank you for listening. This has been the Why Even Care podcast with my main man Danny, and we'll see you guys in a couple days. We'll post something soon. So, thank you for listening.
All right.